Hey there, this is Dania McBigot with Some Intellectual Podcast. Let's get into it. Hey there, Dania here. I just wanted to explain a little bit about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Basically, I've been studying philosophy and religion and science and different things for a long time now, and I'm trying to make sense of it. And I've been studying education quite a bit. Roger Schenk's work on how we learn and how the human mind works. And he does a lot of work on artificial intelligence, and in order to do that, they had to determine, how the human brain works. And basically, how we learn is through storytelling. So you tell a story and I tell a story, and part of how we determine someone else's intelligence is how relevant the story is and how quickly they can come up with a story and how many different stories they have. And all those things contribute to how intelligent we experience the person as, regardless of other measures of IQ or things like that. And my problem that I was having is that in my life, I don't have a lot of people who want to have conversations about these sort of deep, important issues, because we don't talk about religion and we don't talk about politics in polite company because nobody wants to get in a fight about it. And I think that that's really unfortunate, that that's what it's become, is just like having a fight about it. Because when we come at it from a fighting position, we never really have a conversation. I don't get to tell my stories and you don't get to tell your stories. And in a way, I felt like I wasn't really even understanding what did I mean and what did I believe unless I've articulated it and told a story and then seen, does that story really mean what I think it means? And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is just express myself in a hopefully articulate manner. And I'm sure that as I go, because I'm just starting out, I will get more articulate, which is definitely one objective that would be nice. But the other thing is just to it feels really good to kind of be able to work it out and tell the stories. And if I get to meet some other people who actually want to have a conversation and tell their stories without just relying on emotion to kind of stop the conversation, that would be really cool too. But I don't know whether or not that'll actually happen. Maybe I'll just get ripped apart on YouTube, and that's fine too. A lot of the conversations that we have about politics seems to be like, who has memorized the most statistics? And not even politics, but also religion and moral issues. And so obviously, I have a decent IQ, not genius level or anything, but I could probably memorize more statistics than the average person and use those as weapons to destroy them. Well, if you haven't heard of the statistic, then you don't have anything to say about it. But I think that that's not really that useful, because that person is never going to get to articulate what they really mean. And I wouldn't get to articulate what I really mean if I'm just relying on statistics or other people's words. But if I can relate a story from my own experience, or that I've experienced through even TV or whatever, because we do experience those things. We mirror the experience of the actors. And I was in a car this weekend during the Trump inauguration, and with a couple of people that I don't know that well, and one of them had been at the marches, and I just hadn't even, I do watch the news, but I guess I hadn't been watching it in the last couple of days, because it just didn't even occur to me that there was a protest against Trump. I guess I lean more conservative, but so I asked her, she said, well, I was at this women's march, and I said, well, what was the cause? I know I've been to slut walks and different walks, right? So I said, well, what's is it violence against women or whatever? And she kind of looked at me like I had completely missed the mark, and I've done that a few times, and I was like, oh, okay, so there's something here that I should have known that I don't know, but okay. And she said, well, it was all about protesting Trump's inauguration. And I said, okay, why? And she said, well, because of all of the things he's going to do. He's going to stop immigration. Not that that has anything to do with women, and as far as I can see. And I said, okay, well, illegal immigration. And she said, well, I think that's really a veiled threat for racism. I said, oh, okay. I don't think so. And she said, well, he's going to stop the right for abortions and defund Planned Parenthood. Now, my belief on abortions is really that they're okay up to about 12 weeks, because that is where I believe the soul enters the body. And before that, as far as I'm concerned, it's just a house that's not yet occupied. And, there's different, I guess there can be debate about that. The problem with Planned Parenthood is that they do try and sell abortions, and they do abortions after 12 weeks for sure. And I think that it's unfortunate because people on the right have to take a hard line on one side and people on the left take a hard line on the other, saying that we can say, partial birth abortions are okay, which I totally don't agree with. But I obviously think it's a gray area. So we could have a discussion about that. But this person I was talking to, it was like she had never met somebody who had a different opinion than her, or that she assumed that they were all sexist, racists, homophobes, and I'm not those things. I'm not those things. I mean, there's no way really around it. But, people will call me that. That's fine. But it was sort of like shocking to her, and she just completely shut up. And it would have been interesting to me, because we had to drive for about 2 hours together in a car, to have a conversation about what is even the abortion issue. Like, if we could start to think about why we have to take a hard line one way or another, it would be much more interesting to have a conversation where I told my stories and she told her stories, and we figured out why she thought that way and why I thought that way. To me, that would have been a much more interesting conversation and an interesting way to spend the 2 hours in the car. But everyone kind of got flustered, and that was it. Like, all I had said was that I disagree. I literally said nothing else. I said, oh, I don't think so, when she said Trump's a racist. I said, I'm not sure about that. And she said, well, he's going to defund Planned Parenthood. And I said, okay. And then she literally just shut up, and she looked at her phone, and we didn't speak another word for the rest of the car ride, which was really sad, I think, for me, because I'm a little bit desperate for intimacy, because I find this everywhere I go. And so I guess that's why I'm talking to myself, and whoever might be listening to this, which is kind of doubtful whether anyone will ever listen to this, but I'm going to put it out there anyway, and see what happens. Okay, well, thanks for listening, and we will get on to more interesting topics a little bit later on.